Hello and welcome to the JØNI factory in Denmark. Today I'm going to show you the AutoChef 86 controller, explain a little bit more about all its functions. At the left bottom you find the on and off buttons here. So you switch on the unit here, switch it off. Emergency stop, of course, for the mixer. Then you have the slow mix button here, the pulse button, which will allow you to mix, rotate the mixer with open lid up to 20 RPM. So when you're emptying your food, you can still agitate it so you get an even distribution out when you're portioning your food. Then here at the bottom of the screen you can change the manual settings, for instance. Go to recipes, cleaning, and the general settings. So if we go to manual programming, we can change, for instance, the temperature here, the stirrer, the water filling, and the tilting. All the functions that are active, you can always, regardless on what screen you are, you can always see them here. So the heating will be indicated in red, the water filling in blue, the mixer in black. You have a timer function here. So regardless of the program you're using, you can still put an extra timer, which can be helpful. The batch log function, where you can activate the registering of the programming for your HACCP data logging, which is automatically done with when you use your recipes anyway, but you can also do it like that. And you can check the time in the right button, top, and also whether or not the unit is connected to the internet by the button here. If I want to change the temperature, so right now we have a current temperature of 19 degrees, a set temperature of 120 degrees. I can alter it with the slider function here. So I can also go down a little bit. Plus minus button, or here the numeric keypad. So let's say I want 58 degrees. I can do that and set it like that. I can choose the heating intensity. So regardless or whatever product you're using, you can always find the right heating settings. Adjust it there. Eco Assistant, that is a function that will allow you to reduce the energy consumption, so it's quite helpful. And depending on the configuration of the kettle, you can choose between heating and cooling, and then switch the heating on in this case, for instance. So you will see the button here is switched as blue, the heating is red, is on, and the left top you can also see that the heating is switched on. Then here at the right button, now it has been doing some batch log, so it will ask you whether or not you wish to register this. So I will say no in this case. Now I can put a name in there, and that's about it. Quick set function, that will give you some small, like little programs in a way that you can, for instance, say I want to cook 300 liters of water up to 98 degrees. Just press the button and then choose the one that you need, and it will start to heat up 300 liters of water, pour it in and heat it. The second function here is the stirrer. So you press on the button there. Here you can, again with the slider, set the speed from 5 up to 155 RPMs. Now the lid is open, so it's reduced to 20, but normally, depending on the volume of the kettle, it goes up to 155. Also, if the small plus minus, you can change it, or with the numeric keypad, so the same as with the heating settings. Stirring pattern can be chosen here. Now the lid is open, so in this case it will give an error message. You would have to close the lid first, and then you can choose different stir programs. Here you can set the speed of the stirrer, so with the slider, 5 up to 155 RPMs, plus minus buttons, and a numeric keypad, so that's the same as with the heating settings. Then you can choose the stirrer pattern here, so there's different stirrer patterns there indicated, you can choose them. And you can also make your own stirring patterns in the JØNI portal, then depending on the food that you're cooking, you can make those settings. Step clockwise, step counterclockwise, that's a function where you can adjust just slightly the position of the mixer tool. For instance, when you're adding water, sometimes it can spray a little bit when the position is a little bit off for the water filling, so you can adjust it there slightly. To switch on the mixer, you push this button on off, similar as to the heating, and also there you have quick set buttons for your mixer patterns that you're using very, very often. The next function is the water filling. Depending on the configuration, you can choose between hot and cold water. So here, for instance, then you have a temp guard function where you can set the minimum temperature of the water where it should be added again. So for instance, if you're making a stew, It would be nice to keep the meat boiling a little bit, because it will stay more moist. As where you're putting a lot of cold water, it will drop and it will take a little bit more time to pick up the heat, so that you can switch on there. And then here again you can adjust the water amount, the plus minus buttons as well. And if you wish to put also deciliters, you can put, for instance, 125.9 liters. Confirm it there and then activate the function there again. Also there you will find quick set functions for your mostly used programs. So we have the tilt function as well. You push the button here and then you can start the tilting. So the further down you go with the tilting, the faster the kettle will tilt. The more you stay to the middle, it will go slower. Tilt back is that way. Or you can choose the buttons here, tilt and return. Choose the speed. Switch on or off the tilt back function. The tilt back function means that when you're tilting, it will go back slightly once you release the button, so you will not get another 5 liters of soup coming out. Then you have the portioning function here as well. So you can adjust the unit up to the position where your soup is almost being poured out. Confirm. Choose the amount of food that you wish to pour. Let's say 11 liters or 10 liters or 12 liters. Consistency. You can choose as well, and then start portioning. So now in this case it will portion out 12 liters of product into your gastronome container. So it's always easy to use the GN support for that we offer. Should the amount of food be off, you can still adjust it. So if you need to add from the kettle or towards the kettle, so back into the kettle or from the kettle into your gastronome container, you can adjust it here and then calibrate it even further if you need to. So that will be quite helpful when you want to portion certain amounts of food. Recipes, you go in here and then you see different recipes there. You can also choose cookbooks, for instance. So there you have the pasta dishes, desserts, etc. Here you see all the recipes. So if you go into a field fricassee, for instance, you see all the ingredients that are needed for the program. You see the portion sizes, so you can adjust that as well. You can see the different steps, methods, details, etc. and then start the function here. So the unit will automatically indicate when to add certain ingredients to the program. And then it will follow through the whole program the way you have set it yourself on the computer in the JØNI portal. Cleaning programs, you can also make them on the JØNI portal. And then here you have the general settings where you can change, for instance, the language, the sounds, etc. and a lot of settings that can be done. So this is just a brief introduction on the AutoChef 86 controller of all the basic, the most important functions that you will need when you're starting to cook with this controller in your kitchen.